haven't touched her yet, but you promised her a dowry, you still got to pay half that shit. I was like, feminism. And
So I'm writing a book about how Islam is a really progressive religion and has always been. And I host a weekly Quran book club on Instagram. My Instagram is in my bio. On Friday mornings, where we read the Quran literally line by line. Muslims, non-Muslims, everyone is welcome as guests, but also to participate through the live stream. And as Muslims, we don't think it's offensive or disrespectful at all if you're reading the Quran for the first time and learning all of these things and coming to your own conclusions. That's kind of the point of it. And if you don't know Arabic, that's totally okay. There are 2 billion Muslims and lots of people throughout the world from all kinds of cultures, and the Quran is for everyone to read. But if you don't know Arabic and you are picking up English translations, it's really, really important to learn and read from the right translations and sometimes actually compare a few different translations. Two of my favorite are the Thomas Cleary translation and the Study Quran. And then I like supplementing that with the first Quran translation by a woman named Laleh Bakhtiar. And it's called the Sublime Quran. And that I find really important because even though the Quran is really, really feminist, there have been some very patriarchal translations that have been a holdover from some mistranslations in the past. And I think it's really good to get different perspectives to really understand the essence of the Quran. And one example of that is this line in chapter 4, 434. So this is the Thomas Cleary translation, and it says in verse 34 of chapter 4, the men are supporters of the women by what God has given one more than the other, and by what they provide from their property. So women of integrity are humble, guardians in absentia by God's protection. As for those whom you fear perversity, admonish them and leave them alone in bed, then spank them. And if they obey you, then seek no means against them, for God is exalted. Great. And here it's talking about, obviously, in a patriarchal society, men have more than women. And if the woman that you are with is not someone of integrity and is not honoring God in how she deals with that property, then in this translation, it says you have the right to spank them. In some other translations from even more Orthodox people, it says that you have the right to beat them. But the Laleh Bakhtiar translation is totally different, and I think a lot more accurate to the original intention of the Quran. So this is the Laleh Bakhtiar translation from the Sublime Quran, and it's the same verse, 434, and it says, men are supporters of wives because God gave some of them an advantage over others and because they spent of their wealth. So the females, ones in accord with morality, are the females, ones who are morally obligated, and the females, ones who guard the unseen of what God kept safe. And those females whose resistance you fear, then admonish them and abandon them in their sleeping places and go away from them. Then if they obey you, then look not for any way against them. Truly God had been lofty, great. And you can see the difference between the two of these, not just in the word spank versus go away from, which is two different translations of the same word in Arabic, but also in how it talks about women proceeding and how much status and equality it gives women. And I see this as much closer to the essence of the Quran, which is inherently so feminist all throughout. So I think it's really important to read from the right translation.